The plan today is to do a full face of new-ish makeup. I got my Sephora order in. I've bought a few things recently. I have some things I got in PR that I want just to use today. So I'm thinking maybe the Icy Nude palette, maybe the Mario Moonlight, maybe these two together. I have two face palettes. I did buy the new Auric face palette. I have the lightest shade Daybreak, and then I bought one of the Hourglass face palettes. We'll get to this later, but I'm excited about these, which is weird because I can't remember the last time I was so excited about some face palettes. But I also have one of the Patrick Ta eyeshadow duos that I bought myself. So I don't know what the look is going to be today, but I'm excited just to sit down and play and talk about makeup. First things first, I like to always start with the lip balm. So for my Sephora order, I bought the Ole Henriksen Pout Preserve Peptide Lip Treatment that I've seen so many people talk about. Now, I've been using the Summer Fridays lip balm this entire year. I've been working so hard on panning this one in vanilla, and I really do love this, but I really wanted to try this formula because so many people have been just raving about it. So I bought the nude shade Creme Brulee, and I have applied this once, and my first impression was not that great. So I just want to apply it again and see how I feel. It has a weird, funky taste to it. There's like, I'm getting a little bit of something chemically, which makes me wonder if I got a bad one or something, but it just doesn't smell nice and delicious like the Summer Fridays one does. Yeah, like this one smells amazing. And then also applicator wise, I love a good applicator, and what I love about the Summer Fridays one is that it's nice and curved, and this one's pretty just straight like a typical lip gloss tube applicator, so I like the experience of applying this one better, I think. So as of right now, for this type of lip product, I'm still team Summer Fridays. Now my skin is feeling so dry today, so I'm gonna go in with the Merit Great Skin Priming Moisturizer. This is a newish product to me, and I believe it did launch this year from Merit, but it just gives a really nice amount of hydration, just especially on days like today where I just feel extra dry. Now for foundation, I'm gonna use a foundation that I just can't stop using. Like, this is the one that I want to grab for. I want to put it on my face. It's the Fenty Beauty Soft Lit Foundation. I have the shade 150. I'm just quickly gonna pop this on with the BK Beauty 101 brush. I've just been loving this foundation for its medium coverage and its luminous finish, but it's not overly glowy like some foundations can be on me. Now I'm also back into using this BK Beauty brush for foundation. It just looks so freaking good every time. I love how much surface area this brush covers. It makes applying my foundation so quick. And they really do have some of the softest face brushes I have used. And they did also give me a new code for you guys that goes until the end of December, I think. And that code is ANGELABRIGHT30, and that'll save you 30% on their website, which is pretty crazy, especially for BK Beauty, because they don't really do big discounts a lot. I think they just restocked their Holy Grail brush trio, which is what I'm using today, because these really are my most used BK Beauty brushes, and I love the color of these handles. So maybe if you've been wanting some BK Beauty brushes or wanted to get some as a gift, I think that's a great idea. My foundation is on. I know that the shade is a tad bit too dark for me, but I kind of just don't care. Like, I just go with it. Next, I'm going to apply my NARS Soft Matte Concealer in Vanilla just on any blemishes that are still peeking through my foundation. And to apply the concealer and really pack it on, I like to use a flat concealer brush. This is the BK Beauty A505. And then I'm going to blend out the concealer with this fluffier concealer brush. It's the A506. After foundation and concealer, now I want to go in with this new Auric Cream Face Palette. So this is brand new from Auric. This is Samantha Ravindal's brand here on YouTube. I have been a big fan of her for years and years. I love her makeup style. I love just her personality in general. And I have bought a few things from her brand before, and when she announced these cream face palettes, I really wanted to try it. If you follow Sam, you know that she's very into her cream products, so when she comes out with a cream face product, like, I really trust her in what she will create. So I think there are 3 different variations of this palette. I have the lightest one in the shade Daybreak. So in here we have a cream bronzer, cream blush, cream highlight, and then a kind of clear balm. Sam said the way that she uses it is she'll actually pick up the product on a little palette and like physically mix the shades together to kind of customize the look you can get with this. I'm not really one to like pick up and mix things together. I'd rather just take my brush and like dab in between, so I think that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna take the bronzer shade on my BK Beauty 109. So let's put on this bronzer. So I like to stamp on my cream bronzer, and then I'll go back to my foundation brush and kind of blend the edges of it. I'm gonna add a little bit around my cheekbone. The shade of this bronzer is really nice. It's not pulling orange on me at all, which a lot of bronzers can do because I'm pretty fair. And I think the amount of pigment is really good too. I don't think it's overly pigmented or like too sheer. Although I will say this is only my second time using this product, so I'm not gonna, you know, give it a raving review right now because I'm still kind of getting to know it. Same brush, I'm gonna pick up the blush now. I do like how these pans are bigger than these two because you use more blush and bronzer than you do highlight or balm. And this looks like it should be a pretty kind of neutral pink shade. Okay, sun's coming in. Closing the blinds. Okay, sorry for the lighting change. And then the cool thing about this palette too is that the pans are removable. They have the little holes back here, kind of like Natasha Denona palettes, where you can just stick a pin in and pop out that shadow. And then I believe you can take this entire insert out and kind of use it as like a magnetic Z palette, which is really cool because this is a nice, like, sturdy little palette here. I think if you're someone that likes a simple base routine, you love your cream products, I think you would like this palette. I'm gonna do my under eye concealer. I'm just gonna use my Natasha Denona, and then using that same A506 concealer brush to blend this out. And then while I'm here, I'm going to apply my Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer. Then I'm going to set my under eyes with the Huda Beauty powder in the shade Pound Cake. Now, I bought this mini one when the Easy Blur foundation came out, and I realized I freaking hate this packaging. It sucks, and so I've been pouring this into an empty container that I have. This is another powder that I finished earlier this year. And I've just been doing this because this packaging sucks, but I still want to use the product, you know? And then taking that powder on a puff, and I'm going to set my under eye concealer around my cheek and my mouth and my nose. Just recently, I've kind of been understanding the hype of this powder. I mean, this powder has been out for so long at this point, I feel like. I just think it does such a good job at mattifying and blurring at the same time without being too heavy or cakey or anything. Like, I just think it looks so good. And I've learned too that the smell of this powder really doesn't bother me that much. Like, you smell it when you very first apply it, but I don't smell it throughout the day or anything. And then I'll just take a little bit more powder on the center of my forehead. Now for setting the rest of my face, I've been really into the Kosas Cloud Set powder, specifically in the shade Candy. It's the light pink one. Now I've loved the Cloud Set powder for quite a few years at this point, but this pink one, I recently saw a little hack on TikTok, and this person was saying that if your foundation is too yellow, use this pink powder all over to kind of neutralize your foundation a little bit. And as someone that has cool undertones, a lot of foundations pull very yellow on me, so I've been using this on the rest of my face, and I really do feel like it helps neutralize my whole base. So I'll just kind of take this on the rest of my face that I didn't put that Huda powder on. Now we need to talk about the Hourglass face palette. So I think this launched about a month or two ago at this point, and every single holiday when these palettes come out, I avoid them. I look at them, I say, oh, they're so pretty, and I say, I don't need one, I'm good. I don't really like a face palette is what I tell myself. But the freaking packaging of this one is an eyeball, and I love an eyeball packaging. I just think it's so cute. I have like eyeball decorations behind me like I am an eyeball. And then ever since this launched, I have just not stopped thinking about this palette. Like whenever a new launch comes out, usually I forget about it a few weeks in, but this is always in the back of my mind, like, oh yeah, the Hourglass face palette. So I bought it, but I used my Ulta points, so I paid $3 for this palette, and that is how I am justifying this very, very expensive Hourglass palette. But I do love Hourglass powders, the ambient powder, the bronzer, the blushes, the highlighters, like it's all beautiful. So I am excited to finally own one of these 6-pan palettes, and I used this bronzer yesterday, and I thought the shade was like perfect. Again, it's pretty more neutral, kind of cool toned leaning. So I'm just gonna apply a little bit of the bronzer on top of my set base now. And this is the Beauty N17 brush. And then I think I'm gonna take this blush. The shade is Oasis Glow, and the shade has a bit of warmth in it. I like that it's not too pink. There's quite a bit of like a gold sparkle in that blush. I don't love a gold sparkle, but I like the base color of this blush. Then I'm gonna take the finishing powder, and I'm gonna place that where my blush and concealer meet, just to kind of soften this area right under my eye. Let's do an eye look, but I have no idea what kind of look I want to do today. I think I want to keep it more on the softer, kind of simpler side. I'm thinking either I'm going to use the new Patrick Ta Duo, or I did get this in PR. This is the Giorgio Armani liquid eyeshadow, and it's like this beautiful champagne shade that I think I would love. What about like these together? I don't know, let's just start something. I'm gonna go into the new Huda Beauty Icy Nude, and I'm gonna take Lavish on a fluffy crease brush, and I'm gonna run this shade throughout my entire crease. Now I picked this shade from the palette for my crease shade because I wanted something with a little bit of warmth in it, since my blush and bronzer do have some warmth in it as well. I thought this would pair together nicely. This just had me thinking about the two kind of warmer shades that Natasha Denona put in her Roxa palette. I really didn't like those shades. I tried to make them work in a recent look, whereas when Huda puts these two kind of more warmer shades in this more cool toned icy leaning palette, I think she did it very well, and like these shades still work with other shades in the palette, and like it makes sense still. And I'm gonna take a smaller crease brush with more of that shade and just run that across my entire lower lash line. I'm also going to pick up a little bit of Cold Plunge from the palette. I'm just going to use that to kind of soften out these edges of Lavish. Then I'm going to take High Life on that small crease brush. I have this more on the flat side of the brush, and I'm just going to dust this across my entire lid just to give me a little bit of color. I actually really like these kind of two pinkier shades together. I like how this High Life one is a bit more cool toned, whereas Lavish has a bit more warmth in it. I think they look really pretty together for a nice little soft kind of pink look. Now I want to try out this liquid eyeshadow. This is the shade 67S. I have not tried this before, but what if I just stamp it on the center of my eyelid? Okay, then taking a clean finger, I'm just going to kind of pat that out, but still keeping it in the center. I'm going to add a little bit more. I actually think that looks really pretty, and it doesn't look too heavy on my eyelids. I'm usually kind of skeptical of like liquid and cream shadows because they can look kind of cakey, especially in your eye creases, but this one's looking pretty good. And I do like that color a lot, how it just adds like a little bit of sparkle. But I kind of want to try my Patrick Ta on top of it because like I just want to play with makeup today, so I'm gonna do it. So I have the duo We Need Better Lighting. This one's more of like a whitish silver. This one leans a little bit more gold, but not too yellowy gold. And I'm gonna take the more whitish silver one, and I'm gonna put that right on top of the Giorgio Armani shadow. And this might work really well because I just placed that liquid shadow down, so this kind of has something to stick to. I just want to like really intensify these sparkles. I kind of like to bring the sparkles up pretty high on my eye, like I am above my crease right now. And then I'll go back to my fluffy brush that I started with, and I'll just lightly blend around that shimmer just to smooth out any edges. And I'm gonna go back to that High Life shade that I put on my lid and just touch that up kind of right on the inner corner and outer corner. And this is kind of the eye look that I've been liking to wear recently, where I have maybe 1, 2, or 3 matte shades laid down and then just layer up some shimmers on the center of the eyelid, kind of blend it out. I just think it's so pretty and kind of like an ethereal eyeshadow look. I went ahead and did my other eye. I popped on my mascara, and for that I'm just wearing the e.l.f. Lash and Roll. And then I did also put a little bit of a nude liner in my waterline. Now I want to add a little bit of highlighter to my cheekbones, so I'm going to go back to the Auric palette, and I think I'm going to try the Creme highlight and just pop a little bit of that on top. Okay, I'm just gonna take some on my finger. And I really hope this doesn't like cake up or anything. Gonna blend that out. I don't like how that looks. And it's very possible because I put it on top of a very set base, and this is a cream product, and that doesn't always work. Okay, I'm actually gonna tap over that with my 109 brush to like kind of erase it a little bit, because that kind of looked like a weird white stripe almost. Not love that. Instead, I kind of want to try the balm and just see if that adds like a little bit of a glow, and I'm going to take it on a dry sponge. So again, I am very new to this product. Like this is my second time using it ever. So I'm just still kind of playing around with it and figuring out what works. That doesn't work either. I don't know if you can see kind of right here. It just really picked up and separated my foundation and my powder. Did I apply too much? I don't know. Okay, taking my foundation brush, tapping over that. Okay, so it seems like these creams don't really work on top of powders, or at least the products that I had on my face right now. I don't really know how to fix this. I'm gonna take a little bit of my Charlotte Tilbury powder, just because it has like a dash of coverage in it, just to kind of cover up this little spot that got picked up. I was hoping that those would work over powder just to give like a little bit of a luminosity. Like, you know how the Patrick Ta creams work on top of his powders? Like, that's what I was going for. You know what product I haven't used in such a long time? My Rare Beauty highlighters. I just haven't been using like real highlighters as often, which is kind of different for me. But I'm gonna take a little bit of my Enlighten shade. If I can just dust a little bit of this on. This side looks so much better than this side because everything's a little chunky over here right now, honestly. For lips, I'm gonna keep this nice and simple and just pop on the new Huda Beauty Faux Filter Gloss after I just kind of tap over my lips here. This is the nude shade She Flirty. It's such a pretty pinky nude gloss and it's so glossy looking. All right, that is the finished makeup look. Let's go over a couple of the products. I am still really liking the Icy Nude palette. I love the little pink look that I did today with these two shades. Yes, I know I paired two other shimmers on top, but I think you could use like either this one or this one and get something kind of similar to this look. I'm still not completely sold on the Hourglass palette, but again, I only spent $3 on it, so I'm not mad about it. I'm just hoping that now on, whenever I see a new holiday palette, I'm like, okay, I have this one. I have a cute one, nice tin pan. It's a nice eyeball. Like, this is my favorite design ever. I'm definitely still figuring out this Auric palette and the best way to use it. Today I learned that they don't really work well on top of powder. So if you're someone that really only uses cream products, all right, that's gonna wrap up this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and don't forget to like and subscribe.